Good morning, my dear friends, and welcome to beautiful Surfside, California. That's my son, Patrick, back there trying to catch a halibut. Not trying, he's got to catch a halibut and bring it up here for the morning preview today. He's out there fishing a Lucky Craft. It's a gorgeous morning here, and of course, we've got a tropical storm headed our way. Hurricane Hilary, which is making its way up the Baja coast, is set to affect us on Sunday, so that should be pretty darn interesting. In fact, it's dubious right now, and I'm not making the call because people's livelihoods are at stake here, but wondering if San Diego-based boats are going to be able to get out of LA, Orange County-based boats on Sunday, Monday. We'll see how that weather plays out, but it's supposed to get kind of sporty around here. That bluefin tuna bite on Tanner Bank. I am just back from an incredible trip on board the Horizon out of H&M Landing. I've got to tell you, Ricky Perez ran the boat. He's a dear friend of mine. And man, was he fantastic, as was everybody else on board. Michelle in the galley, the guys on the deck, fantastic job that they did. And then you add the Friedman Adventures family, the people that watch our videos every day, that are so supportive of yours truly. Came out, went fishing. It was a great group of people. You had one? Oh man, he just lost a halibut right there. You're supposed to catch them. Damn. Anyway, they're so supportive and so wonderful. They all came together, and it was great. I don't care if it was Steve, who's been actually suffering from medical ailments and hasn't been out of the house for a long, long time. His friend Dave brought him out, and Steve caught his first fish. He was on oxygen. Travante, who was on a fish for an extraordinary amount of time. He had to take several breaks. His back was giving out on him. He was out of breath, and he lost this beautiful fish. And then he came back and caught another one. I shouldn't spoil all this because the video's up for you to watch right now. There were so many other stories like that. So many great people I got to meet. So much fish out there on Tanner Bank. The biomass is incredible. Hey, you know what time it is. I drank all my coffee, so I got to fake it. Patrick, him and I were BSing too much. It's time for the morning briefing. Oh, that coffee is so good. It doesn't even look good. All right, it's great to be with you. Hey, do me a favor, hit that like button. I would deeply appreciate that. Share these videos if you have a chance. Of course, subscribe to the channel. Tick the bell. You'll be notified when there's new content. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Almost 450,000 likes on TikTok right now. So we are jamming along with our social media, and it is a pleasure to be with you all. All right, let's start south of the border. They're preparing for that tropical storm to get in there and bring with it 25 to 40 plus knots of wind and perhaps some thunder and lightning and rain. It's going to be kind of crazy for an August day here when we get to Sunday. We'll see if that trajectory of that hurricane, which will become a tropical storm, it'll lose power over the colder waters up here. Colder, relatively speaking. Those hurricanes draw their strength from really warm water, like 70 plus, even warmer than that, 80 degree water. That's where they draw their strength. She's going to lose some of that strength, but once it gets up here, we'll see how it goes, and it should be an exciting couple of days, no question about that. So down south of the border, out on the kelps, fishing offshore. It's been a little bit on the more difficult side, should we say. There's been a little bit of yellowfin, not a lot. Some dorado on kelps and yellowtail on kelps. If you find the right one down there, fishing out of Ensenada, you can do quite well. But for the most part, it's been a little bit more difficult. Thank goodness the inshore bite has been so darn good. It has been absolutely wonderful here with barracuda, bass, bonita, a few halibut, even an occasional white sea bass, plenty of rockfish. It's been really excellent fishing for all of those species, so it keeps you busy, keeps the fishing kind of fun, let's put it that way, with all that variety. It's been good. And don't let me tell you that we are not seeing offshore fish. There's guys down there that are catching bluefin, that are catching some yellowfin tuna. There's a few hits on that offshore, but a lot of guys have been focusing their attention on the inshore thing. Now, the question looms, what's going to happen after the storm? And it should be really, really interesting. Number one, we're going to get more warm water flowing in this direction, and one would surmise from that we'll see more warm water species, maybe more yellowfin, maybe more dorado. There'll be a lot of debris in the water, so be careful with regard to that. But that debris could be holding species like dorado and other fish. So it's going to be very interesting as we move in to next week after this tropical storm blows through. It should really, really be good. All right, so that's your south of the border. Up in San Diego, my God, has it been wonderful out there on Tanner Bank. And we didn't exactly have the best weather out there. It was kind of snotty. For some people, it was downright rough. Let's put it that way. But, man, I'll tell you, those fish, from the moment we got there till the moment we left, were biting, and they were biting really, really good. Excellent fishing on the bluefin. And the thing that was so crazy, and it makes your tackle choices really important, is we caught some 5-pound bluefin, and then we had fish over 100 pounds. And you never know what you're going to hook. So choose wisely when you're choosing your gear. It seemed to me like 40-pound was working best of all. There were guys that got bit on the 60. In fact, Travante had one on the 60. And I highly recommend you fish as heavy a fluorocarbon as you can to get a bite. If you can get away with the 60, do it. But in most cases, it seemed to be the 40-pound that worked best of all. A 1-0 circle hook and a good hot bait. There was a lot of long soak hookups going on, so you soak your bait for a prolonged period of time, and then there were times when a guy would cast the bait and get bit instantly. But that long soaking your bait for a very long time, really requires you to nose hook your bait. Come up through their mouth and close their mouth and go up through the nose. And then when you wind back slowly, you've long soaked it now for 10 minutes, you're winding back slowly, you'll get bit so many times. Your bait will swim naturally if it's nose hooked. So that is really, really important. There's a little bit of mix of fish out there also. Some awfully big quality yellowtail being taken out there. Jolene Thompson, wow. I mean, not only is she just a joy to be around, but she is such a great angler. Had 2 of those great big yellowtail. I think we had 5 on board, maybe 7 yellowtail, something like that. We had limits of bluefin on board the Horizon on our trip, but she had 2 of those fish right off the bat. And I was looking at those things going, you know, these bluefin are cool, but my God, I'd love to be pulling on one of those big forkies. And they are beautiful fish. They're on the fly line. Also, there was some sinker rig fish also out there in that neck of the woods. Should be a great day out there again today. We'll watch it. It's a plunker kind of bite. You got 3 going, you got 6 going, you go dry for a second, you got 1 going. That kind of a bite. That requires that you work hard. Choose a good hot bait. Fish that fluoro, www.opsonusa.com. That is so important to your success. It will really make a big difference. Some of the boys out there, if they get a chance, will also go off and rockfish. So be prepared to catch copious amounts of rockfish if you get an opportunity of that. On our trip, well, of course, you know what we did. We decided to go out and check out what was going on offshore, see if we couldn't hang an albacore. We got a jig strike on an albacore style feather. It was a bluefin tuna, a little guy, and then we also had 1 dorado while we were working offshore after we limited out on the BFT. A lot of fun, no question about it. All right, and this all applies to LA Orange County based boats. Amigo, the Freedom, the Thunderbird, the Fury. When they're on day and a half or better, they're going to be on Tanner Bank, and it has been flat, marvelous fishing out there in that area. So hopefully that is just going to continue. We're going to get a little break in it when that tropical storm comes through here. For sure, Monday looks like it's going to be dicey, but let's give it a little bit more time. It's Friday. We'll take a good hard look at it again tomorrow on the morning briefing, and also we'll be watching it with special updates. I'm thinking of doing some kind of a live update with the rain pouring down on my bald head out here with thunder and lightning, and it should be kind of exciting. I'm kind of a weather freak in a way, so I like these kind of meteorological events. It should be kind of exciting here in SoCal to see it. So LA Orange County based boats are on that also. There's also some bluefin up there in the Channel Islands, and there's that white sea bass and halibut, those explosions that we get every once in a while. Yesterday was not one of those days. Just picked at a few sea bass and halibut up in that neck of the woods. We'll see what happens today. Still want to be prepared with dropper loops up there. Then there is some live squid. It's a little bit tougher now. Some guys are making squid, and sometimes it's a little bit more difficult, but we'll keep our eyes on that for you very, very closely. I've kind of started on the islands, Todos Santos off Ensenada. You have all that variety that we talked about. Coronado Islands can be quite good. I mean, anywhere from 5 to 30 yellows, let's say, on an average day out there with good calico bass fishing. But You ride down South Kelp Ridge to the rock pile, and guys have been finding some foamers of bluefin tuna in that neck of the woods. Those little Colt snipers, Daiwa sacanas, shiny, small jig, like 100, 130 grams have been affected, but mostly the fly line bait has been most of all. And you might have to drop down to 25 pound if you see that you're not getting bit on the heavier stuff. Move you up to Catalina, a few yellows, decent bass fishing out there. There's some bluefin bouncing around. Haven't had any huge scores on it here recently. Channel Islands, great rock fishing with the possibility of those explosions, of course, on white sea bass and halibut. Down in San Diego, great calico bass fishing, perhaps the best we've seen in many, many years. It's been absolutely awesome on the calicos down there. We move you up into the LA Orange County area, and the boys are still all over the sand and calico bass. Oh, you caught a pair of sunglasses. Let's see that. I told you this kid would catch something today. Amazing. What'd you do? You went out on the rocks? You got snagged or something?
Yeah, I got snagged, so I had to go. It's my only lure, so I had to go get it.
All right. Well,
that fish I lost was legal.
It was?
Easily.
What did it do? Jump out of the water?
Yeah, before I knew it was hooked, I didn't have time to lean on it.
Yeah.
And it came out of the water,
and
it's the biggest halibut I've hooked by far.
Are you serious?
Off the beach, yeah.
Dude, go back and catch that thing.
These damn glasses.
I know, man. All right, back to this. Patrick, oh my God, I had no idea that halibut was that big. He's going to get me to run up and grab a rod here in a second. So here in the LA Orange County area, great sand bass fishing, excellent calico bass, a little bit of barracuda still around. If you're not getting a bite and you think you should be, then you're fishing too heavy a line. You drop down to 15, even 12-pound fluoro for these local bass, and that will really help you a great deal. So good fishing there up in the Channel Islands, Marina del Rey. Those guys catching bass, barracuda, not wide open. They back it all up with rockfish, like Cody Rogers on the Island Spirit has been able to do that. I'm excited now about this. So the surf bite, there's been a lot of Corbina in the surf. There's been a few halibut that somebody lost here this morning. He's getting out there ready to go again. But once again, we've seen some really good surf fishing, Corvina, and wide open barred perch. I thought the water was too warm, but our friend Tino Valentine and Noli Yan have been down fishing, and it was full speed, wide open perch, wide open on the sand crabs down there around the Huntington Beach Pier. Really great fishing in the surf right now. And as I say, if you're on a budget and you want to go fishing, don't leave the surf out as an option. It's so much fun. And Big Fish Bait and Tackle right down the street here on the corner of Seal Beach Boulevard and Pacific Coast Highway. They've got all your bait needs and so much more. All right, my friends, have a great one. Should I fake it again? I mean, I'm out of coffee. I'm not even going to fake it. But I will toast you, and I will say hi to all my friends on the horizon, the crew, and the great people who came out. Meant a lot to me to see so many of you. Meant a lot to me to have so many people approach me at the landing and tell me they're watching the morning briefing. They love Tackle Shop Confessions. They love all our programming. I deeply appreciate that, my friends, because we are nowhere without you. All right, hit that like button, share these videos, tick the bell. You'll be notified when there's new content. And of course, subscribe to the channel, as over 10,000 of you have already done. Have a great day. We'll see you on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook today. And I hope to see you really, really soon. I'm not going to fake it.